over the past year, this channel has grown exceptionally well for a Linux channel. I think by the time this comes out, I should be a little bit past 12k, unless I just don't gain any subs for the next 4 days. So, because it's a Christmas video, this is the one day you have to deal with wearing this shirt. It says, "'Tis the season to get swifty," because, you know, Rick and Morty and all that. Anyway, that's not the point of today's video. The point of today's video is because the channel has grown so well this year, I wanted to give a bit of a shout out to some smaller channels who have been really enjoying this year. People who aren't necessarily just Linux people. Like, there is a guy who does Linux videos on the list, but some of them are programmers, some of them do something a little bit adjacent, but it's still in the same sort of hacky vein. So the first person I have on this list is someone I've talked to plenty of times. He's an awesome dude. He's been on my podcast twice at this point. The second episode would have just come out, and that is Donald Fuery. And he also happens to be one of my patrons as well. So his channel has 901 subs, and right now he's doing a lot of Go videos. So if you want to learn Go, this is an absolutely amazing channel to watch. So he hasn't uploaded in about 2 weeks just because he's been busy with work, but if you want to go and scroll through this, as you'll see, he's done a lot of just random Go tutorials and things that are actually productive for Go. He did one 2-hour-long live stream where he went over Go syntax, but most of what he does with Go is like actually how to practically use it for something rather than just here's this abstract idea, work it out yourself. But he hasn't always been doing Go videos, so when he first started this channel, if you want something a little bit different, he actually started doing FFmpeg videos. The reason why he did this is because he was too lazy to actually use a video editor, so instead of doing that, just automate everything with FFmpeg and you're good to go. And I'm pretty sure all those FFmpeg scripts he uses are publicly available, so if you want to go and use them and edit them for yourself, there'll be a link for them somewhere on his channel, and if there's not, you can probably get in contact with him pretty easy. He seems like a pretty chill dude and is willing to talk to anyone who wants to talk about, you know, random things like automation, things like that. Now, back to the Go stuff, he actually wants to expand out from Go, so along with doing the regular Go tutorials, he wants to also do things that you can use alongside Go, so things like, say, looking at SQL and looking at how to work with databases and looking at things that you're going to use that aren't necessarily written in Go, but you will very likely be using inside of a Go project. Along with this, he also does the occasional game stream where he'll play, you know, Ghost of Tsushima, or he also likes playing a lot of retro games as well, so maybe some of that will be interesting as well. Now, on to our second channel. This is an indie game dev by the name of Tim Krief. Now, you might be wondering, okay, why are you talking about an indie game dev? Doesn't he use something like, say, Unity? No. Tim Krief does all of his development using FOSS tools, so his main game engine is Godot. If he needs to do some 3D modeling, he'll use something like Blender. Some audio work, he'll use Audacity. Image work, he'll use GIMP. Basically, he's just making games using FOSS tools. And his main series right now is a series called Devlog, where basically he goes over the process of making various things in the game, or going over the state that the game's currently in. So recently he did one called Getting Close to Designing Levels, where basically he's saying the gameplay is sort of getting a bit more polished out, he's designing more gameplay mechanics, and it's getting to the point where now he can actually use those mechanics to actually design levels that would be fun to actually play. So the current game he's mainly focusing on is one called Octahedron, which I don't really know how to properly explain it. Basically, you are this octahedron thing that tries to like fly around through space, but you can only jump around a certain number of times, so you sort of have to plan how you're going to jump ahead so you don't run out of energy. But between each of your jumps, the game actually keeps running, so you can actually run it in real time and try to work out where you want to jump then, or go into like a slow motion mode where you can more accurately work out where you actually want to, you know, jump towards. But you don't have free control over where you're going to jump, you actually only get to jump from the corners of the actual shape. So if you care about the process of game development, especially using FOSS tools, I really recommend checking this channel out. And he doesn't just do the devlog. As we can see here, we have this relaxing feedback loop abstract art, and this was actually based on an earlier video he did called Using OBS as a Cellular Automaton to Create Amazing Patterns, which basically you can have OBS feed input back into itself, and if you combine that with filters, it actually acts like a cellular automaton, and you can create these really weird patterns, some of them repeating, some of them not. If you want to check his games out, he's actually got a page over on itch.io, so you can see all of the previous stuff he's done on here. And if you want to go and see some live content, he does do some live game development over on Twitch as well, so feel free to go check that out if that's what you prefer instead. Like with Donald, the next person on this list has been on my podcast as well, and that is the Digital Life. So his channel basically focuses on the skills that you need to get a job in the IT industry. So he actually works in IT right now, but he didn't go and get a degree to go and get into the industry. He went and learned what he needed to learn and got a job from there. So he's not going to focus on things like, what the most minimal tool is or whether Windows or Linux is better. He's going to use the thing that makes the most sense to actually get your job done. So right now, I believe he's actually running Windows with WSL just because he sort of gets the best of both worlds by doing that. Because if you want to work in the IT industry, or really any other industry, you have to go and use whatever the industry standard tools are going to be. So let's actually have a look at some of his videos. Recently, as we can see, he's done one on Dockers versus VMs, he's done one on Nginx, he's done one on the Azure Fundamentals exam, and that's basically the sort of stuff he does on this channel. So if you're trying to get into this industry, I think this is a really great resource to use. And I don't know how much you care about production quality, probably not much if you're watching me, but he actually puts my videos to shame. He got sort of inspired to go and change some stuff after I changed my lighting, and now his lighting is considerably better than mine. His mic is also pretty good, and he edits fairly well, so I kind of need to step up my game, and I need to put myself back on top again. But at least for now, my set's probably not going to change that much. I can't exactly move that bed behind me. I don't really have any extra room for it. So for now, he can take the lead. But besides the video production quality, he likes to experiment a lot with his thumbnails as well. So right now, he's been doing a lot of these face thumbnails like I've been doing. But before that, he had like these colored borders around it. And then before that, it was just like a very simple face thumbnail. And you go way back, you have these ones here. Once again, like with Donald, his channel is very, very new. So we'll see how much he improves as time goes on. And also, judging by the comments, I know how much you guys like bold people, so, he has that as well, so maybe that's a good enough reason to subscribe. The next channel we have, I feel like should be much bigger, but it has two major problems. The first one is the name is pretty much impossible to search for. It's LearnLinux, and there's a couple of other channels called LearnLinux. You probably know about LearnLinux TV, and that obviously is always going to be at the top of the searches. And if you search for LearnLinux, you're going to find videos from other Linux creators with LearnLinux in the title. So firstly, change your name. It would be a massive improvement. Also, as you could probably tell, he doesn't make thumbnails, like, at all. He just uses the exact same picture on every single video. So, thumbnails and the channel name, and I feel like his videos would be much more popular. So, what does he actually make, though? So, he does a bit of everything. He'll do things like, talking about random applications he's working on. He'll reply to people. He'll talk about random Linux apps. He'll talk about, window managers and mistakes that people make when they're first starting out with Linux. Basically, think about what I sort of do, but he does it in a much more relaxed format. So I like to plan my videos out. The way that he seems to do it seems to be very off the cuff. So if you prefer that sort of style, I really recommend checking this out. Obviously, because they're off the cuff, it does lead to some of them being longer than they probably should be. But regardless, I still think they're fun videos. And I think they're fun because I enjoy the way he presents the videos, even if they're not in the most concise format possible. And if you hate the webcam thing everyone does, maybe you'll enjoy his channel a little bit more because he doesn't actually go and show his face. And the final person on this list is none other than Mr. Bryan Jenks, who, like me, started out as another Luke Smith clone. So if we go way back to before he was doing his current videos, as you'll notice, he was even copying like the terrible style that Luke had on his thumbnails as well. I've talked to Bryan about how bad of an idea this was. In his latest videos, he's not doing that anymore. Luckily so. What he does now is very different from everyone else on this list. So what he's doing is basically note-taking with an application called Obsidian using the Zettelkasten workflow. Now, I can't properly explain how this actually works. He does a much better job at actually doing this in this video right here. But basically what it is a specific style of doing note-taking that he says really helps him with his ADHD. So if you have the same sort of problem with keeping ideas together in your head, I really recommend checking this channel out because it's a really, really good resource. And if you're still unsure about the workflow, he'll do these live streams where he's talking with chat while doing the note-taking live. So you can always go and ask him questions there or, have a look at how he's actually working and see if it's something that's going to work for you. And besides the random video where he'll do something like talking about GitHub Dark Mode or talking about Final Cut or Bitwarden, his main focus is on Obsidian. And I don't know if he's going to keep doing that going forward, but it's probably safe to assume that he is going to do that. So I haven't actually told anyone featured in this video they're going to be included in this, so Merry Christmas to everyone that decided to feature. All of you guys have amazing channels. There were some people I was, considering including, but I don't know. I wanted to have 5 people, and these were the 5 people I thought really deserved some attention. So everyone's channel will be included in the description down below. The only one you can't search for, though, is LearnLinux. So if you go and search for, like, Tim, Krief, or Donald, or The Digital Life, or Bryan, you'll find them pretty easily anyway. It's just LearnLinux who's a bit hard to find. So check out the description down below to see all of their channels. So I think that's going to be pretty much everything for me, but before I go, I would like to thank my supporters. So a special thank you to Chris, Joachim, Donald, same Donald I'd mentioned in this video, Corbinian, Andrew, Nathan, David, Montazar, Will, Chico Bento, Joseph Mitchell, Peter D, Tony Tushar, and all my $2 supporters. If you want to support my work, them links down below to my Patreon, subscribe star, LibrePay, all of that sort of stuff. I've got my podcast, Tech Over Tea, available basically anywhere, and then this channel is available on Odyssey, Library, and BitChute. If you want to watch my if you want to watch my platform, if you want to watch my videos on a platform that isn't YouTube. I'm not going to cut that out. Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching this video and decided to stick around to the end. Hopefully next year is better than this year, but I don't know at this point. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.